Good morning, everyone. Seeing all three commissioners present, I will call to order the August 14th meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. I will ask Tony and our comms team to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we'd like to start the meeting with a moment of silence. Recently, two county employees, both from our Assets and Infrastructure Department, passed away. Many of you may know them. Sharon Cullen had been with the county for 20 years, most recently as the director of our county fleet. Joe Batista was a member of Assets and Infrastructure as well. He was a dedicated automotive technician and was with us for 13 years. We deeply mourn their loss. Our hearts are especially with the entire team at A&I and all of those who worked with these members of our county family, and some of you may have been at their services, and they were deeply involved in community in the county as well. We wanted to share two places that you could support should you like to make memorial contributions. Sharon's family kindly requests that anything be made to the Montgomery County Hero Fund, which she co-founded with her husband Sean. And Joe's family has requested that any memorial contributions be made in memory to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, which is at afsp.org. But I want to thank everyone in the county who showed up for their families and friends at this difficult time. And please join us in a moment of silence for them. Thank you. So we'll start this meeting with our opening remarks with an update on the state budget. So many of you may know we're 6 weeks into the state's fiscal year. Fortunately, we're still at an impasse. There are a number of things that are very important to us in the county. Of course, we've talked about SEPTA, and that's a major part of the budget discussion right now. SEPTA is unfortunately on track to see significant cuts in service as soon as August 24th, which is a little over a week. We're hoping that this budget issue will be resolved before then, because those cuts will significantly affect Montgomery County. I mean, we'll see a dramatic drop in service on regional rail and complete elimination, in fact, at the end of the year and in January. I'm speaking to people this morning. I think it's starting to kick in that they're not going to be able to get to work. They're going to have to figure out other ways to get there. Traffic is going to get worse on 76, if you can imagine. So we are advocating, and we ask everyone listening to advocate for funding SEPTA so that we can maintain the service in regional rail. And of course, the next conversation is how do we do better? But beyond SEPTA, there's actually several other issues worth mentioning, particularly in our Department of Human Services. So there are about $24 million at stake in this quarter alone. That includes our Office of Aging Services, which has a $2.6 million Human Services block grant, which, among other things, provides over 100,000 meals to members of our senior population who need them most. We have a $1.7 million grant for drug and alcohol prevention programs. There are 20,000 people served across the county through those grants. We have 10,000 children and families who are fostered or receive support from our Office of Children and Youth. There's a $5.6 million grant at stake there. There are 2,500 people who receive either developmental disability or mental health support. There's a $10 million grant there that's at stake, and funds for shelter services that house 100 people at any given time. And that's just this quarter. So if we don't see the budget passed, we're going to have to make some hard decisions at the local level of whether we stop those services or whether we find temporary measures. And they're not easy decisions. So, we're really advocating for Harrisburg to come together, and really they shouldn't leave until they pass a budget. So please contact all of your local but right there. So yeah, there are many other folks who are going to be involved in our OISP office as well under Eli Gilman, so thank you. And then I'd like to introduce our new Director of External Affairs, Erin Boyle, who's here. Thank you, Erin. Everyone give her a welcome. So Erin's been a longtime Monco resident, and she's worked in state and local government for 25 years as an advisor, as a staffer in bipartisan administrations, worked in the governor's team on economic development, a number of different issues, and she'll be leading our external affairs office along with Thomas and Judy, who are here. So Judy's usually always sitting in the back. But Thomas, Judy, and Jason. And the goal here is that we collaborate effectively with 62 townships and municipalities, with our state and local representatives in Harrisburg and Washington, 50 police departments, 22 school districts, to make sure that we can best serve everybody in Montgomery County. And there are so many instances where there's millions of dollars in federal or state grants that we can tap into if we effectively leverage our relationships. And so really excited to have Erin on the team and help us continue to build on that effort. So thank you and welcome to the county. So finally, last week was National Night Out, and I'll let my colleagues speak to it as well, but I had the chance to be in Lansdale, Horsham, Plymouth, and Lower Merion this year, and it was really great to see all of our first responders, law enforcement come out and get to build their relationships with members of the community and get to show the work that they're doing. So thank you for all who participated, and I'll turn it over to Commissioner Winder.
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this morning. Everyone doing okay? All right, we need a little more energy than that. It's almost the weekend. So first, I'd like to talk about our back-to-school supply drive. It is still collecting donations through August 22nd. You can donate in person to county buildings across the county. You can also order items on Amazon wish list, and they will be shipped directly to the county. To everyone who has already participated, I just want to send a special thank you for helping our county's kids get the best start to the new school year. A couple nights ago, I was ordering my school supplies for my soon-to-be new kindergartner, who will start on the 25th in the Norristown Area School District, and I couldn't help but think how fortunate I am that I can purchase school supplies for him. And there's so many kids across the county and families that cannot. And so this school supply drive really does help support families. And Commissioner McKeegan and I were in Pottstown yesterday as an example. The Pottstown Communities of Faith had done a headphone drive for the Pottstown School District. They needed 1,900 headphones for kids that couldn't purchase them on their own. And so I want to commend them for the work that they're doing, and a bunch of organizations across the county to make sure that all the students have an opportunity to have a great school year with the supplies that they need. Tomorrow, Commissioner DeBello and I will be at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Pottstown to help Valley Forge Tourism with their Freedom from Hunger kitchen takeover. They don't want me in the kitchen, but I will be there because I'm not a good cook. But we will be serving meals to our friends and neighbors in need and promoting the launch of their 11th annual Freedom from Hunger drive. I'd like to invite Monco residents to get involved and help support Valley Forge Tourism's annual food drive. Every year they work to raise money for the Monco Anti-Hunger Network, and all proceeds support the work of MON in distributing high-quality food across their network of food pantries in Montgomery County. And so they accept monetary donations, and community businesses will be donating a percentage of their sales to MON. So I look forward to doing that tomorrow with Commissioner DeBello. Next, we have our August Way to Go winners. I have the honor of introducing some of these fine county employees, and I see some of them over to my left. So first up, Kathy Boland. I've had the chance to get to know Kathy personally, and she hails from Conshohocken and has such great pride in all things Conshohocken, especially the St. Patty's Day parade, right, Kathy? Okay, yeah, it's a good parade. But in all seriousness, she's from the Office of Aging Services within HHS. Kathy's coworkers say she is a true team player. She's taken on tasks outside of her regular duties in stride, and she's always there to support her colleagues that need extra help. So I want to thank you, Kathy, for all the hard work that you do in our county. Next up, we have Matt Hanauer. Did I pronounce that? Okay, I saw you. So for senior counter clerk with our clerk of courts, and Matt, I've seen you at the counter, and you're always there with a smile. So congrats to you. Matt's coworkers say he's consistently brought a kind and positive attitude to his work. And especially when people are coming to the clerk of courts, it's not always their brightest moment when they're there at your office. Your colleagues say you're a great listener who provides help with complex issues, and you often go above and beyond your standard duties to help the team and residents you work with. So thank you, Matt, for all that you do. Next is Jane. I see you in the corner there, Jane. Jane is our Research and Performance Officer, EO Officer on the Workforce Development Team within our Commerce Department. And I've gotten to know Jane and her work as well. Jane's colleagues say she goes above and beyond, and that doesn't even describe who you are as a colleague. She makes sure our county programs comply with funding requirements. She manages social media pages and creates all outreach materials. Jane is known statewide for her expertise in managing information in the Commonwealth's workforce development system. That is our statewide system of record. And back in May, she staffed a job fair in Chester that supported all employees impacted by Crozier Health System closure. And that was 105 MACO residents. And so thank you, Jane, for all the work that you do for Montgomery County. Congratulations. And two additional employees that are equally important but not here. We have Paloma Martinez. She's a senior district court clerk in our district court 38-1-15. Paloma has earned her place as one of the youngest senior clerks in the county. She brings a professional and knowledgeable approach to her work and shares that wisdom with staff. She remains cool under pressure and always provides essential translation services for our non-English speaking clients. So thank you, Paloma. We're grateful for your service as well. And last but not least, Kathleen Paris, who is in performance and planning. She's a specialist there for the Office of Performance and Planning with HHS. Kathleen's coworkers say she is a huge asset in every endeavor she participates in. She's exceptionally easy to work with and very team-oriented. And she's knowledgeable and grounded, providing significant insights to the projects she's involved with. So I want to thank Kathleen for her service as well. So I'd like to invite the Way to Go winners that are here up to take a picture.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. How are you? Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you so much. Go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Nope, you're right. Thank you very much.
done.
All right, so turn it over to Commissioner DeBella.
Alrighty, well, I am looking forward to, I attended last year the Freedom for Hunger with Valley Forge Tourism. It was an awesome event. I did get pulled into the kitchen to help cut up vegetables and tomatoes and stuff, so I'm sure we'll
I
participate.
can do that. I just
Yeah,
can't.
so I look forward to being there with you tomorrow. I think we'll have some fun while we're doing and supporting an amazing cause. So, Commissioner McKeesha mentioned that we had National Night Out. Well, I think it started out as a National Night Out a few years ago and now turned into multiple nights out because of many communities that participate in these events. I think they're still going on throughout Montgomery County. It was a great week, I'll say, because like my colleagues, we were kind of divide and conquer all over Montgomery County. I know I was in Royersford, Abington, Montgomery Township. I know I'm forgetting. Springfield, yep. So it was good. It was really it's fun to get out to the community, support our first responders. You know, the people, I'll tell you what, the kids, watching the kids see the fire trucks climbing all over the equipment. I mean, it's just an awe, and hopefully we see future firefighters or volunteers within these kids that maybe get inspired by being out at these events. But they're great nights out, and so if you haven't had the opportunity this year to go to one, I highly encourage in your community next year to stop by because it's a great way to support your community and also thank all our first responders and police as well. What else do we got going on? We had August 7th was National Purple Heart Day, which was last Thursday, a week already. You may likely know that Purple Hearts are awarded to American military personnel who are wounded during combat. Purple Heart recipients put their lives on the line for our freedoms, and they deserve our utmost respect. A quick bit of history about the Purple Heart. We honor on August 7th because on August 7th, 1782, George Washington created the badge of military merit. That was exactly the same as the Purple Heart. Only 3 soldiers from the Revolutionary War earned this honor. But it was the first time the President created medals for regular soldiers. The modern Purple Heart medal was adopted in 1932. Since then, almost 2 million Purple Heart recipients Purple Hearts have been awarded. 3 men have received Purple Hearts 10 times. And a dog who served in World War I was also awarded it twice. The real number is far higher than 2 million since this does not include wars before 1932. Some from World War I veterans have received them retroactively. But this is our nation's oldest military recognition, and I'm glad that it's continuing today as well. So many different things going on. I do want to recognize there's a group here in Norristown called the Cottage Street Sports Club. So I want to honor our guest here today, Larry Shea from the College Street Sports Club. Cottage Street has been a positive force in Norristown since 1989. They organize youth sports, art activities, and keep kids active in the community with neighborhood cleanups and much more. As many may know this, I'm a big proponent of youth sports. I've managed leagues, I've coached teams, but volunteered throughout the years. But sports equipment in itself is extremely expensive, and every year it gets even more expensive. So volunteer organizations like Cottage Street really make sports accessible for everyone. There are so many benefits for young people involved. It's healthy, it teaches teamwork, and it teaches hard work. But it also keeps our kids out of trouble. So we're really grateful to have an organization like this in Montgomery County. Well, actually, we have several in Montgomery County, but this in Norristown is doing amazing work. So I want to thank Larry and all the College Street volunteers for the work that you do.
I was actually, when 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, they had an awards night for their kids, and I was able to stop in. And just seeing the kids receive awards for sportsmanship and all the activities that they perform. And I think, is that your president of the club sitting next to you?
Yeah.
Yep. You want to see a very impressive little individual. He blew me away when I was there. He's in his third year as president, if I remember. Second year as president. And he runs a tight organization. He keeps everyone in check, and he makes sure that everyone participates and makes sure everyone is welcome. So again, I'd like to bring him up, and I want to recognize, the group with a proclamation from the county.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
We are Cottage Street Sports Club.
Okay. All right. So with that, we will move on to our first public comment period. This is just for today's pending votes, resolutions, bids, RFPs, and contracts. If you have any other comment, we'll get through the agenda items and come back to general comments after those. Are there any agenda item comments? Go ahead.
Joe Rooney.
Just quick on item F. So first, if you don't mind me saying, I thank all the commissioners for coming to Glenside for the Glenside Parade and the honoring of the first responders. That was really nice, and everybody did a great job. And Tom DeBella came back to National Night Out to honor them. So in Abington, we appreciate that. I'm just speaking for me, obviously, but I appreciate meeting you all there. I took our scout team, our scout club, whatever, troop 427, and we marched the entire, marched is a good word too, the whole Schuylkill River Trail from Philadelphia out to Valley Forge for one of their hiking merit badges. We did 20 miles that day. And everybody hated me by the end of the day. This was a really great hike on that. So thank you for that, and we use it. And I know a bunch of kids have a bunch of good memories once we sat down and took a break. I have a question, and I wasn't exactly sure what was on the item. In the spring, there was some discussion in the board here about long-term campers in the township over by Elmwood Park, which is a county park. And so I went over and checked it out a couple times and talked to a couple people. And I'm just wondering if there's enforcement, if there's equal enforcement of the camping regulations in our public county parks for everybody. The 3 people that I talked to were actually all voluntarily there. They didn't like living in grandmom's basement, so they decided to move out. Another guy was in prison in Chester County and got the word that Montgomery County is a place to come because they don't roust you out. So if we're doing our regulations for our parks, maybe since it's now August, and we're talking about that, I think, in February, maybe there's some update on that, because if there's anything about safety and security, if you go from that Elmwood Zoo, go downstream, that is a scary place when you see all that stuff down there. And if you're walking, I drove with my wife there. She didn't go through it, but I walked down and talked to those guys. And then the last thing, just a quick one, about the e-bike rule. Could you hold that sign up again?
Sure.
So question is, do we uniformly enforce regulations? So if an illegal alien's in the county and he's riding an e-bike on one of our trails, is he going to get, he, she, or it going to get cited for that rule there? So which rules do we enforce and which rules do the commissioners decide not to enforce. So again, that's just in with this, and I was thinking about that. Finally, tomorrow is August 15th, which is VJ Day. It's also the end of World War II. So God bless all of our World War II, if they're still alive, their families. We all have grandparents or whatever. But if you go to Mass tomorrow, Feast of the Assumption, say a prayer for them, because we're here because of the incredible things they did. So I know that was off the topic, but thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Barb Furman? Barb?
On the general.
Okay. We'll move her to the general. Anyone else?
Okay, that's all.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we will move on to the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the July 16th, 2025 meeting minutes of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners?
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Commissioner Winder. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved. So next we'll hear from Stephanie Tipton, our Deputy COO, on an amendment to the rules and regulations regarding our parks, trails, and historic sites.
Good morning. Presented for your consideration today are proposed amendments to Ordinance 25-2 regarding rules and regulations for county parks, trails, and historic sites. As you guys know, I'm sure, Montgomery County's parks and trails welcome over 3 million visitors annually. And to ensure these spaces remain safe and accessible for all users, we are recommending updates to the parks rules and regulations. The First Amendment clarifies the types of electric mobility devices permitted on county trails and specifies that electric bikes in particular must weigh no more than 100 pounds, have a motor of no more than 750 watts, including fully operational pedals, and may not exceed 15 miles per hour under motor power. The Second Amendment increases the maximum fine for violations of these rules and regulations from $100 to $300. These changes reflect the county's commitment to balancing accessibility with safety and preserving the quality of shared public spaces. These regulatory changes are one piece of a broader public awareness and enforcement campaign that the county will be engaged in over the coming weeks and months to promote trail etiquette and safety. I respectfully request the board's approval of the amendments to Ordinance 25-2 as presented, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Not necessarily directed to this, but I'm going to do a public service announcement.
Yes.
Along with this, since this is a very important topic that we're talking about on the trails.
Yes.
The kids that have these e-bikes or whatever, we got to be, they're shooting out, like they're darting out from all over the place, all over the public streets, they don't even, I'm just saying, be careful because they shoot out from, not even at intersections, they just dart out and they're kids. I mean, I'm not saying that they're, doing it, they're just, but I'm just putting it out there because this is important that we're adding this as a safety precaution on the trails. But I'm also saying that for everyone out there, listening and watching this as well, or telling your friends and families, be careful and always watch, these kids, because they're learning, I guess, as far as traffic. I don't know, but just be careful because I've heard of instances time after time about, I almost hit this kid he just darted out. I didn't even know where he came from. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just add you make a good point in that it's for the safety of the riders and other people on the trail. Because in Delco, you may have seen, I think 2 kids were killed recently riding scooters. And basically these, motors have gotten much faster and more capable in the last several years. And, to the extent that some people are trying to now use the trails as commuting, right, instead of taking 76, which I understand the desire not to take 76, but the trail is not the option. Funding SEPTA is the better alternative, which you know. So, so that's why this is important, both for the people who are riding the devices, but then also everyone else on the trail.
And you'll see here, there will be more social media awareness campaigns coming out related to this. So just thanks to our comms team for putting all of that together.
Thanks. All right, so with that, is there a motion to approve the ordinance as described by Ms. Stephanie Tipton?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner DeBello. Is there a second?
Second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Winder. Any board comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The amendment is approved. Moving on, we'll hear from Steve Forrester, our Director of Commerce, on a TEFRA approval for Bryn Mawr College.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning. Before you today is a request by Bryn Mawr College, a nonprofit corporation, seeking a resolution approving the issuance of one or a series of tax-exempt revenue bonds totaling up to $70 million. Bryn Mawr College is a private, non-sectarian institution founded in 1885, situated on a 112-acre campus in Bryn Mawr, Lower Merion Township, Montgomery County, and having approximately 1,670 full-time students, of whom approximately 1,447 are undergrad. The bonds to be issued will repay two earlier series of bonds, notably from 2010 and 2014, along with a term note extended by PNC Bank. The bonds are to be issued by the Montgomery County Industrial Development Authority and have been approved by the IDA pursuant to a TEFRA hearing and resolution adopted July 23, 2025. The hearing was properly advertised on the IDA website at least 7 days in advance of the hearing. Because the refinancing is for a Montgomery County-based entity, the Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982, or TEFRA, requires approval by the highest elected official in the county where the funds are to be utilized. Approval of this bond issue will benefit the health, safety, and welfare of residents of Montgomery County by improving the college's balance sheet, extending the term of the debt, and making the college more fiscally sustainable, thus enabling the college to keep pace with its peer group by, for example, continuing to offer additional scholarships and maintain or increase enrollment. Neither the general credit nor the taxing authority of Montgomery County are pledged as security for these bonds. Thus, the county takes no financial risk nor obligation in this transaction, and it does not impact the county's balance sheet in any way. I therefore request your approval of the resolution as presented by the solicitor approving the issuance of the bonds. Thank you for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. Any questions? Okay. Unfortunately, no. But you can run for commissioner, but hopefully not against us.
Happy to answer afterwards.
And yeah, Steve can stick around if you have questions, but is there a motion to approve resolution number 1 as described by Mr. Steve Forrester?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Winder. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner DeBello. I'll give one board comment, which, just for everyone's clarity, this is not the county making an investment in the college. The IDA essentially helps lower the cost of borrowing for the college and many other institutions that apply. Companies, nonprofits, can be a range of entities within Montgomery County, and it allows us to put them in a better financial position. They get a better deal in terms of term of their loan, and it's one easy way that we can be supportive of the institutions within Montgomery County, especially when there's threats to Pell Grants for educational institutions and student loan relief. I think we want to support our great institutions of higher learning, and this is one way we can do that. So, any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The resolution is approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Moving on to Commissioners' appointments to the AI Advisory Council. Do we have a presentation or just make a motion? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the appointments as described in Resolution G2?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Winder. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? I'll just add, as I mentioned in the opening comments, we've got a range of people from a wide range of backgrounds, academia, private sector, public sector. I'm really excited to bring them together to work on ways we can innovate here in Montco and do so responsibly. And yeah, we're looking forward to getting assembled. And thank you to Stephanie for leading this effort and building this, very impressive group. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
Aye. Okay. Okay, so that's all unanimous. The council appointments are approved. Moving on to an appointment of Amanda Gold to Parks, Trails, and Historic Sites, our board. Is there a motion to approve the appointment as described in Resolution G3? Moved by Commissioner DeBello. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Winder. Any board comment? I'll just add that I know Amanda is someone who would bring impressive architectural experience to the board, especially in the realm of historic preservation. She's worked for 20 years in both the public and private sector on a lot of different preservation projects, so glad to have her on our board. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The appointment in Resolution G3 is approved. Moving on to nomination of Lori Hefner to be appointed to the trustee of the Southeastern Pennsylvania region to the Pennsylvania Opioid Misuse and Addiction Abatement Trust. Is there a motion to approve the nomination as described in Resolution G4?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Winder. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The resolution G4 and appointment are approved. Nominations. Okay, moving on to the personnel list. We hear from Tony Brew, our Chief Human Resources Officer.
Good morning, Commissioners. In front of you, you have the final copy of the Commissioner Department's personnel list. It is a 3-page document dated August 13, 2025, with a timestamp of 10:21 a.m. All positions have been reviewed and accounted for your consideration.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the August 14, 2025 personnel presentation as given by Mr. Tony Brew?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Winder. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The personnel list is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to section I. Is there a motion to approve the advertisement of bids and RFPs for Montgomery County on attached Exhibit A?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Winder. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Advertisement of bids and RFPs are approved. Moving on to section J, awards of contract. Is there a motion to approve the contracts, award amendments, and renewals for Montgomery County on attached Exhibit B?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Winder. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? I'll add one comment on our contracts for today, which is that the county is investing in our training facility for first responders and law enforcement, and that's something we've been doing consistently. There are two items worth highlighting, which is that we'll be putting in some much-needed upgrades to the HVAC system and the roof at our training facility in Conshohocken. So that's something we hear a lot from law enforcement. It's something that comes up in the Chiefs Association meeting. So we're making those improvements after this is approved. And in 2024, for stats for everyone to know, they trained nearly 4,000 students, 3,968, from 48 different agencies. So we do a lot of important work for municipalities across the county and even for our neighboring counties. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The contracts in Exhibit B are approved. Moving on to Section K, Southeast PA Regional Terrorism Task Force. Is there a motion to approve the contracts, awards, amendments, and renewals for the Southeast PA Regional Terrorism Task Force on attached Exhibit C?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner DeBello. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Winder. Any board comment? All in favor? Aye. The awards of contract in Exhibit C are approved. So We are at public comment. Any commenters?
Bill Barb Furman.
Good morning. Not used to this being so quick. It's appreciated. Bart Furman, New Hanover Township. Oscar Penney from El Salvador was rearrested on August 1st after being released from the county jail despite facing multiple charges of sex crimes against children. He was arrested in Pottstown, western Montgomery. These arrests outside of the prison system put Montco citizens and law enforcement at great risk. Quoting the Fox News article on July 22nd, he was arrested by Pottstown police on charges including involuntary deviant sexual intercourse with a person less than 16 years of age, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse with a child, 2 counts of indecent assault of a person less than 13 years of age, 2 counts of corruption of minors by defendant age 18 or above, and 2 counts of indecent assault without consent of the other party. The federal government's most important job is keeping U.S. citizens safe, and Homeland Security and IRS can work well with local law enforcement. They have an important job, and they are following policies and procedures. County government has the most important job of running the processes and procedures of fair elections. As a retired teacher, I have monitored many standardized tests. As a citizen that values the processes involved in scientific research and the variables, keeping the variables as small as possible, nowhere in process does adding more variables to a process like running elections make process more transparent, and in my opinion compromises public trust. Multiple drop boxes, months-long ballot distribution and collection, multiple languages. I can see the challenge at the precinct level with in-person voting. Just like testing protocol, you only know who filled out the ballot 100% when they present themselves. And I believe that also the majority of people believe photo ID should be presented by the eligible voter. If we can't explain all of the ins and outs of voting and ballot collection, then we need to look at process and follow it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes. Vaju, Mayor, I'm sorry, I can't read the writing. Yes, please, you're next.
First of all, I'd like to say I've been in Montgomery County since first grade, kindergarten. I went to O.J. Roberts High School. So this is just a general, this is my first meeting. I went to college in Philadelphia. I've never been to one of these meetings, even though I've been in Montgomery County basically all through my high school and college years. And I just, this is not to attack, just the general things was that the cost of living is getting high, especially for seniors retired. If your parents are retired, the cost of living could be a little higher because of property taxes. And some of the things I've noticed just driving around is that there's a lot of empty office spaces and corporate office spaces and restaurants, that maybe we could try to bring some of like I used to go to LabCorp in Montgomery County, and that whole building was empty. I'm not sure who owns it, but we could try to bring back some of those small businesses. That would help the tax base.
I just came here just to sit in on my first meeting. That's
Yeah, well, thank you
that's
for,
it. So,
thank you for coming, and
Yeah.
I'll just comment. Steve Forster, our Director of Commerce, is doing a great job identifying all the sites in the county where we can
okay.
support economic development and help people who want to start businesses or have facilities, move in. So that's a big project that we're working on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Pat DePera?
Good morning, Commissioners. And my name is Pat DePera, and I am a retiree from the Economic and Workforce Development Program. I retired in 2008, and a few of my colleagues came before you back in March, I believe. Yeah, it was March. I'm very nervous. I do not like public speaking, but this is so important to me that I wanted to do this. We came before you a year and a half ago, and we haven't heard anything back. We did receive a letter in March, the following month after we asked for a cost of living raise, and at that time the money was still not available. And I know that they were going to bring this up at one of the quarterly meetings. And again, we haven't received any written correspondence, to that effect. So I'm here once again to ask if that could please be considered. I myself I worked 31 years for the county, and a lot of other of my colleagues had, also worked quite a few years. And I know they recently gave cost of living, I think it was to 170 people, and you were very pleased to do that. And not the cost of living, I meant the...
Minimum wage.
What was that?
The minimum wage?
Yeah, the minimum wage to $20 and some cents. And you're very proud of that. And I would wish that you could give the retirees a cost of living. Chester County gives it, Berks County gives it, Bucks County gives it. We are the only county that is not giving that. So again, I respectfully ask if you could please reconsider and go back and look at the numbers. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Yep. So we just got a presentation on that at the retirement board. So we're actively in discussions and considering it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because several people have reached out to me making that same request, and I know as a board of commissioners we're very supportive of all our retirees, and we're trying to look at how we could do it. What you mentioned about the quarterly meeting that just happened, where we have our actuary goes through and they look at the whole retirement, system and where we are with money and so on and so on, and then there's formulas that they have to apply that's driven by what the state has in place, and we have to be, without getting into too much detail, but we have to be above, the system has to, the results have to come out 80% or better, and it looks over a 5-year period, a rolling 5-year period, and we're still trying to deal with, in 2022, I believe it was, there was a significant drop in the retirement system, basically the fund. And that keeps playing into this formula. And we came out this year slightly above 78%. So we can't use the pension system to actually provide a cost of living until we get that up over 80%. We are talking to see if there's an alternative way for us to be able to do something this year where that hopefully next year we would be able to score because we'll be in 2026 and we may be able to come out of that where we'll be 80% in that range where we need to be, which is regulated by the state. So we're trying, and all of us came in the first year, last year, and we all agreed that we wanted to support a cost of living raise, but we were limited in what we could do. We're really trying to figure out what we could do this year to get us to that point.
And if I could just add, we also have a new controller who has extensive experience around pensions. So glad that we're partnering with him to think through how do we do this. You know, my dad's on a fixed income public servant. I see what he struggles with to just make, his retirement last him the month. So please know that this board is taking the request seriously. But to Commissioner DeBello's point, there are limitations in our ability to do it at this moment. So, but we are working with the controller and those that help us from a retirement perspective, think through what are some alternatives that we can look at. So no guarantees, but I want you all to know that we are serious about it.
They did a good job speaking.
Preston Lutweiler. Preston?
Hello, I'm Preston Lutweiler, Limerick Township, and I didn't know what I would talk about today, but hearing you talk about SEPTA at the beginning prompted me to get up and say something about SEPTA. I love SEPTA. I worked in Bryn Mawr for 29 years. I love the R5, now the Paoli line. I can't believe that they're talking about shutting that down. That was what created the main line. So it just makes no sense that this region is talking about decimating its public transportation system. My former state senator, Katie Muth, recently made a comment about this in support of funding of SEPTA and pointed out that 46% of the revenue that comes into the state comes in from southeastern Pennsylvania. When I hear people, senators from other parts of the state, complaining that they're not getting enough of the pie, it just boggles my mind that they can't be thoughtful enough and realize the contribution that's coming from southeastern Pennsylvania to sustain public transportation in southeastern Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I was redistricted out of Katie Muth's district, and I now have a state senator who is voting for a solution which involves taking money out of the capital fund for SEPTA and public transportation and putting it into the operating fund. As managers of the county budget, I think you recognize that that's irresponsible, and that is no solution. So I'll just add my voice to the importance of properly funding SEPTA and funding its operating budget through state revenue.
Thank you.
Jay Lee.
Hello. Sorry. Hello, I'm Jay Lee, a community organizer from Lansdale. Today I want to speak on behalf of community leaders, volunteers, organizers, residents, and immigrant communities that have come together and have worked hard in local communities throughout the county under the commitment for safety, justice, and protecting the people who make our communities whole. Montgomery County has made some important changes in the past few months. County's correctional facility no longer honor ICE detainer requests without valid judicial warrant, and there is an internal policy to bar county police from honoring the requests and sharing citizens' details with ICE without judicial warrant. These are victories and important steps toward creating a safer community in Montgomery County, but we can do more. So I ask commissioners, this is an opportunity to take the lead in setting a new standard for protecting immigrant communities at the local level in Pennsylvania. On top of our conversations with our boroughs, townships, and municipal police, Again, we urge you to pass a formal welcoming policy resolution, one that actually spells out our protections, our community needs, but does not yet have in writing. Right now, there is no policy that clearly prohibits leasing of use of county facilities to ICE or any other entity carrying out federal immigration enforcement. While Commissioners Makiza and Winder stated your commitment through op-ed published in May, there is yet no formal policy that bars the signing of 287G agreements that prohibit assisting or conducting immigrant enforcement. This policy should also address not retaining a resident citizenship or immigration status unless required by law. And all subsequent data released should be in compliance with federal law. The lack of these provisions creates uncertainty as it erodes trust and discourages residents, many of them longtime neighbors, using county services or participating fully in civic life. A formal resolution would explicitly ban leasing facility to ICE, prohibiting 280G agreement, and preventing the collection and storage of citizenship or immigration status unless required by law. This isn't about federal politics. It's about local safety and dignity. It's about making sure our community is governed by consistent, transparent rules that protect everyone who calls it home. During the Commissioners' Board meeting on May 15, your own solicitor stated that internal policy could be adopted via resolution. Doing so would provide greater permanence and transparency to the community.
Thank you so much.
Ann Harrington?
Good morning. I just want to congratulate Larry Shade and his organization for a wonderful job they do in Norristown. He's very much appreciated. A lot of people say they care. He puts it into action and does things to help the community, especially children. Thank you, Larry.
Joe Rooney?
I'd like to double down on Barb. This is a great, short meeting, so it's really pretty interesting. So a couple of things real quick. First, once again, it was wonderful to have our commissioners in Abington on the 4th of July. There was a big fire in Abington. So they came and they thanked our law enforcement and our first responders. And then on night out, we celebrate our law enforcement and our first responders with celebrations in Abington, and I know throughout the community. Well-deserved, and everybody loves to see it. And then I read in a newspaper how two of our commissioners are undermining our most basic first responders and law enforcement, which are customs and immigration officers. They are enforcing the laws that are on the books that must be enforced. I'm a retired airline pilot and 23 years as a Marine. You cannot believe how many countries I've been to. Everywhere I went, I followed the immigration and customs, whether I was coming from the Philippines into Japan, or whether I was flying a Delta airplane down to the Dominican Republic or to St. Lucia. There's not one time I would even consider running through or circumventing it. First, I'd get fired by Delta. I wouldn't get congratulated by Neil Makija, okay? It's nothing less than we should expect in our own country. So for our customs and immigrations officers, God bless you. Montgomery County enforces, supports all of the great work you do to keep our country and our county clean and safe, sorry. And I'm just wondering how our commissioners can stand up and say what a great job and how important our law enforcement people are on the 4th of July, and on the 5th of July, undermine them and put poor people in Lansdale at risk
Who's calling up the victims of that El Salvadorian illegal criminal who was in our country, was released, and then committed crimes again? Who's calling those victims up and applying and apologizing for them? So this is what I recommend. We need an ICE liaison officer to work with our new immigration staff, making $100,000 a year, so we can make sure that everything in Montgomery County is in full compliance and in support with our law enforcement officers. The second thing is we have to be clear. We either support the law and we enforce the law, or we don't. If you don't like a national policy on immigration or on customs, resign as a commissioner, run for a federal office, and then change the law. Do it the right way, not undermining our great law enforcement officers on Wednesday when you say you support them on Tuesday. Thank you.
We're going to move on to Zoom. Marilyn Muir. Marilyn, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Marilyn Muir, Lower Stafford Township. I'm making a comment in reference to the food market in West Norriton Township that was raided on July 16th. I just wanted to say that all 14 individuals that were arrested were here illegally, and 6 of those were Mexican nationals. Also, the raid occurred at a location that was previously visited by ICE, and they had been warned of a potential return. So they totally ignored the warning and just went about their business, and now everybody's surprised that they got arrested. Illegal immigration, those people are criminals, and it can't be tolerated. And who knows what else they were doing. Some of them were just working at the store, but clearly, we don't know what they're doing when they're not at the store. Somebody's bringing drugs and distributing drugs into our county. There's lots of deaths and crime going on, and somebody's doing it. So to say these are our neighbors, our friends, it just is not, that's not an accurate description of them. Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue on Zoom with George, Daz, and Danny. Laura, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, thank you. I wanted to come here today to actually question the rhetoric being allowed, specifically by Commissioner DeBello. He repeatedly calls undocumented immigrants illegals, which is an extremely hateful way to refer to human beings and shows a complete disregard to what's happening not only to them, but to the immigrant community as a whole. He talks about doing things the legal way and never questions what that even means. Let me remind you that slavery, Jim Crow, and segregation were all legal until it wasn't. Seeking asylum is a misdemeanor, not a crime. So the fact that he calls undocumented immigrants illegals is factually inaccurate. He talks about celebrating veterans and what they've done to build the United States of America, but refuses to acknowledge the atrocities that they've committed against others, primarily non-white people, in following orders of leadership during that time. Let's not forget about the fact that U.S. military is also responsible for destabilizing all the countries that immigrants are fleeing from to try to have a chance at a peaceful future in America. The U.S. military are also the ones who rounded up people of Japanese origin during World War II. And just because that was legal doesn't make it right, which is why those victims received reparations. It's clear that he learned nothing from the Black Lives Matter movement that called out the constant support of police officers despite their repeated offenses against predominantly black communities. People in leadership positions like police, the military, and commissioners should be held to a higher standard than regular individuals. Police shouldn't be allowed to hunt down people based on their skin color, and ICE shouldn't be allowed to terrorize immigrants. Allowing leadership like him to say whatever they want emboldens other ignorant and racist people to commit crimes against populations of people that are already oppressed. I mentioned during the last meeting that people are impersonating ICE, and he spent most of the time afterwards making fun of my reference to World War II. The fact that you can't see the parallels of militarized individuals rounding up people of color and sending them to camps in two different periods of times, stealing Americans' history shows an illiteracy to critical thinking. He shouldn't be allowed to call undocumented immigrants illegals unless he embraces the titles of being a xenophobe and racist to his credentials.
The last person is Carmina Taylor.
Good morning. I wasn't really planning on speaking today, but I wanted to give some context of why I am speaking. 3 weeks ago, I was hit by a car as a pedestrian at the corner of DeKalb and Lafayette Street, and it really, I'm lucky, I'm blessed. I walked away. I could have been hurt greater, but God saved me. And since that time, I really have been thinking about where we are as a county and where we are as a country. And listening to the comments today, and quite honestly, some of the comments by the gentleman in the room, just reminded me that we have to get back to civility. I want to put a pause on that. We have to get back to civility. What's going on here? We've come to a time where we insult people openly for what? You don't have to respond. We've come to talk about issues that we have, but what are we doing about it besides arguing at a meeting? We're at an inflection point in our country and in our county. I grew up here. I have never seen the disrespect and the incivility of having a conversation with people. Life is short. I could have died and I could have been severely injured. So I'm going to continue to move forward in civility of everyone, because everyone is a human being. We need to stop with the racial baiting, because you don't know when you're going to live your next moment. And I call everybody in this room to ask yourself, if you had a crisis or if you had a moment where you could have died, can you live with yourself how you have talked to people and how you have treated people? For what? Again, you don't have to respond. I call on this county commission leadership to really engage in a conversation countywide to talk about civility. That's what you can do in your leadership role. That's how you change the tone and tenor of this county. That's how you change the tone and tenor of how we treat each other in Pennsylvania. I have traveled all across this state. I've been to rural Pennsylvania, I've been in the southwest region, the northwest, the middle part, and the northeast. And we are siloed as a state. And I go into those spaces and I say, no matter what, I'm a Pennsylvanian. I may not live in Uniontown, I may not live in McKean County, but I care about people that live in McKean County. So I just want to call on everyone to civility. I'm going to be coming to meetings regularly, and I'm going to keep this theme up, because we're all human beings and we deserve respect, and there's no need to keep shining a light on something if you're not going to do something back to make it better. Thank you.
That's it for public comment.
All right. Any closing comments?
Just real quick, I think as we're going into the third quarter, we should maybe have a finance update from our CFO on the upcoming meetings. Also, I want to, we recently had some mosquito spraying in Montgomery County. Many people reached out to me regarding that. I'm trying to understand, a little bit more about it. I'm getting information. Is it the county's responsibility or if it's the state responsibility? It's kind of one of those gray areas. It seems like, who's So I want to be able to, and maybe in the future, we should have some kind of presentation about that so people understand what's actually happening, what's being used. Because, you know, it's hard to not support people with concerns that, you know, we're out there just openly spraying chemicals. So I think that we should at least educate, you know, our community a little bit more so they have an understanding of what's happening and why we're doing why it's either the state or the county's doing what we're doing. And also, I want to reiterate again, yesterday I dropped off 8 bags of backpacks full of school supplies. And I want to reiterate, Commissioner Reiner mentioned it when we started the meeting, encourage everyone. I said during an interview that, you know, while you're out getting school supplies for your kids, if you can pick up an extra notebook or extra pack of pens or extra pack of erasers or even disinfectant wipes, tissues, anything, just pick up an extra one and please donate it to the county. There's 11 different drop spots throughout the county. I believe that it's listed on our website. And you know, we have kids in need throughout the county, and it's just when you see the amount of stuff that has come in so far and already been distributed, but you know, we're still going to August 22nd. So anything you can do to help out with school supplies would be very much appreciated.
Okay. Any comments?
I do have comments. So one, I want to just thank everyone for taking the time. I know 10 o'clock is oftentimes hard on a Thursday in the middle of the work week. You know, just I reflect a lot on, and Carmina, you know, appreciate your perspective. I do reflect a lot on the moment that we're in as a country. And I think oftentimes about, you know, my 104-year-old grandmother who, you know, grew up in the segregated South, and she died last year. And I think about the lessons that she taught me as I was being raised in Montgomery County. And what I've been seeing just out in public, what I've been seeing on social media is certainly not the best of Montgomery County. And, you know, I reflect a lot on, you know, how we show up as friends and neighbors. I oftentimes spend a lot of time in the comment section on Facebook, right? I'm sure that many of you do as well. People calling me a DEI hire. People talking about my colleague, the Indian guy, part of the caste system. But that's okay. We signed up. It's not okay, but we signed up to take the punches. But I think we do have to reflect on how we show up to our friends and neighbors, especially in this moment. Everyone's just trying to survive. For the most part, everyone's just trying to survive. And I want to make it clear that I support law enforcement. My father was the deputy warden at Gradeford Prison and served the Department of Corrections for more than 4 decades. You can live up to your values and think about how you treat people, right? And still support law enforcement. It's not either or. So I'm just calling, you know, the civility part, that's the perfect word for this moment. How do we bring back the civility? We can disagree, right? We can have thoughtful dialogue on those disagreements, but let's think about how we treat each other. Let's think about how we talk about those that might look differently than us. Let's think about how we talk about those who love differently than us or pray differently than us. So I'm going to continue to model that good behavior, and I hope that I'll influence all of you to do better and think about how we preserve what's great about Montgomery County. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll comment on a couple things. First, let me just say our next meeting is September 4th, so this is the last of the summer. So we hope everyone has had a great summer and getting ready for back to school. In terms of the general tenor and demeanor of the conversations, I think, it's unfortunate when we take basic actions to uphold people's rights, that would be characterized as somehow not supporting public safety. And I'll tell you one thing about law enforcement and discussions I've had with members of whether it's local police, whether it's the county or at the federal level, I think they do the work every day to keep people safe while protecting constitutional rights, right? They understand the Fourth Amendment. They understand that there are obligations upon them, including obtaining warrants before engaging in searches and seizures. And that's part of the job, is to make sure that, we have a country that, if there's an instance in which someone's liberty is being taken away, that they have due process. And the actions that have been taken in local governments have been in response to a lack of due process that is occurring in agencies that have engaged in searches or seizures without warrants. And if you actually talk to local law enforcement, they know every day how easy it is to obtain that if you have probable cause and any modicum of evidence. And so, I think it's very unfortunate when people politicize the hard work that law enforcement does to keep people safe, including, the prosecutors, the judges who make difficult decisions about bail every day. Because we don't have a system in the country where you can just make an accusation and incarcerate someone indefinitely. Thankfully, we do not have that. And so we have judges who make those decisions alongside, hearing from either a public defender or otherwise and a prosecutor. And we have to let them do their jobs. And, I think somebody mentioned a newspaper. I think that's a generous term for the outlets that you were discussing. Because they don't have an understanding of the Fourth Amendment or how law enforcement works. So, not to give the wonky perspective, this is the difference you can see. But I think, we're doing everything that we can, and everyone should know we're doing everything we can to support public safety while also protecting individual rights. And that's part of the work that we have to do in government. That's on that topic. But, I'm thankful for my colleagues. We had a unanimous vote on everything today, so we're collaborating every day on the issues that our county is facing, and many of them are not partisan at all, whether it's making sure we run government more efficiently, whether we're investing in public safety, whether we're keeping our trails safe. So we're doing the job. And that's what we're here to do, and we're all doing that together. So, any other comments? The upcoming meeting is September 4th, 10 a.m. here in the boardroom. With that, I'll ask, is there a motion to adjourn August 14, 2025, this meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner DiBello, seconded by Commissioner Winder. Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you. We'll move on to salary board briefing. Ask our controller to join us. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, really? What year were you there?
Okay, thank you.
Ran out anyway.
Don't, you were rude. You were very rude.
Look in the mirror when you say it.
Okay, so we
Another
will
meeting right now.
move on to salary board. You can, this is a short meeting on the salary board. Do we have any public comment? Okay, so we will hear from our Chief Human Resource Officer on the salary board list.
Good morning, members of the Salary Board. You should have in front of you the final copy of the Salary Board list.
The August 14th salary board presentation as given by Mr. Tony Brew, Chief Human Resources Officer.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Winder. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Controller Hart. Any board comment? I'll make one comment, which is that there are many 911 telecommunicators on the salary board today, and I want to congratulate them. They're moving on to the next step and being promoted. These are really hard jobs, taking those calls. We get thousands every year, and there can be a higher turnover rate, but we're actually seeing a lower vacancy rate now and people staying on board. So thanks to DPS and Brian and the whole team for doing a great job recruiting and taking care of folks on the team. And, you know, we thank you for all their work and service. Thanks. Any other board comments? All in favor? Aye. Aye. The salary board list is approved.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn the August 14th meeting of the Montgomery County Salary Board?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner DeBello. Any second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Winder. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Sure.